Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes in life a woman must learn to stand alone. Not because she wants to, but because the people around her often fail to match the quality of her soul. As she walks through this world, she realizes that many people surround themselves with others just to fill the silence or escape loneliness. But a woman who chooses to walk alone understands her power. There is a unique strength in solitude, especially for a woman. Independence and self-sufficiency are not traits that appear overnight. They are formed through experience, trial, and often through silence and isolation. A woman who stands on her own 2 feet, without relying on a circle of friends for validation, isn't just surviving, she's thriving. She knows her strength comes from within, not from those around her. In a world that glorifies companionship and social presence, it's easy to forget the power of standing alone. Society tries to convince us that we all need a tribe, a support system, or a crowd to make it through life. But not everyone is meant to walk with the masses. A woman who chooses independence has learned to rely on herself because she knows that at the end of the day, she is the only one who truly has her own back. This self-sufficiency isn't about rejecting relationships or pushing people away. It's about understanding that while relationships matter, they do not define her. She does not need others to validate her worth. She defines her own value, carries her own strength, and trusts herself in moments of challenge. In fact, independence strengthens her relationships. She does not cling to people out of fear or necessity. She enters relationships from a place of balance and confidence. Independence frees her from the weight of judgment, expectation, and comparison. Guided by her inner compass, she walks her own path knowing that wherever she goes, she is enough. She possesses everything she needs within herself to not just survive, but to thrive. A woman who embraces solitude understands that true growth often happens in quiet spaces. Many people chase crowds, believing that a larger social circle brings worth. But she knows the value of relationships lies not in quantity, but in quality. True connection cannot be measured by numbers. It's measured by depth, authenticity, and trust. She prefers a small circle of genuine people who understand her, support her, and challenge her to grow. She seeks meaningful conversations, not surface-level interactions. She values real connection over the illusion of popularity. She also knows when to let go. Not every relationship is meant to last, and not every person deserves access to her energy. Holding on to draining or toxic connections only holds her back. She is strong enough to release what no longer aligns with her journey, even if it means having fewer people in her life. She protects her peace above all. She is patient when forming new connections, observing intentions and values before letting people in. She's not searching for perfection, she's searching for authenticity. By choosing quality over quantity, she frees herself from societal pressure. She does not measure her worth by how many people surround her or how often she is included. What matters is how real her relationships are. In her quiet moments, she never feels lonely because the few connections she holds are rich, meaningful, and fulfilling. They are enough. And because she chooses quality, she is able to show up fully for the people who matter, giving them her praise. When a woman stretches herself thin trying to maintain dozens of shallow connections, she realizes that it becomes impossible to give her full attention to anyone. But when she chooses quality over quantity, everything changes. She suddenly has the time, energy, and emotional space to truly invest in the people who matter. This creates bonds built on trust, respect, and real understanding. Choosing depth over superficiality becomes more than a preference. It becomes a lifestyle. She understands that not everything that glitters is gold, and she refuses to chase superficial validation or the illusion of popularity. Instead, she walks her own path confidently, knowing that a few genuine relationships are worth far more than 100 hollow ones. Solitude becomes the environment where her self-reflection blossoms. When she finds herself without friends, she gains a rare opportunity to understand herself more deeply than ever before. It's not that friendships can't bring growth, but solitude offers uninterrupted space for introspection. Free from noise, expectations, and the influence of others, She begins to explore her inner world. Self-reflection sharpens her awareness, reveals her strengths, and uncovers areas where she can thrive. Without the distractions of constant social roles, she's left with one essential question: who am I when no one else is around? This journey requires honesty, but it brings clarity. She digs into her desires, fears, dreams, and the experiences that shaped her. Through introspection, she discovers emotional triggers and behavioral patterns she never noticed before. She confronts unresolved issues and childhood wounds, heals old narratives, and begins rewriting her life with intention. With no external support to lean on, she starts developing emotional resilience, one of the greatest strengths a woman can possess. She learns to sit with her emotions rather than escape them. She becomes her own source of comfort and stability.
Solitudetea.
As she grows, she becomes more selective with her energy. Time alone gives her clarity, allowing her to recognize what drains her and what nourishes her. She starts placing healthy boundaries, protecting her peace without guilt. She enters relationships from a place of strength and wholeness, not neediness. She values connection, but she does not cling to it. She understands that being alone is far better than being surrounded by people who make her feel lonely. This emotional independence frees her from the fear of rejection or loss. She can handle disappointment with grace because she no longer depends on others to feel worthy or complete. Walking alone also teaches her self-care on a deeper level. Not the superficial kind, but the kind that strengthens her mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. With no distractions, she finally dedicates time to her passions, her healing, her health, and her growth. She becomes intentional with her days, investing time in things that nurture her soul. She learns to trust her intuition, make decisions based on her own wisdom, and put her needs first without apology. As she builds this relationship with herself, her self-respect grows. She refuses to settle for anything less than she deserves. She raises her standards in friendships, relationships, career, and life. The more she learns about herself, the clearer her purpose becomes. Solitude gives her space to dream, plan, and envision the life she wants. She understands her passions and begins aligning her actions with her long-term goals. She no longer lives according to society's expectations. She lives according to her truth. She stops comparing her journey to others and realizes that everyone grows at their own pace. Her path is unique, and she embraces it with pride. She lives authentically, rejecting pressure to conform to trends or roles she never asked for. She writes her own story and shapes her own destiny. As she grows stronger, she becomes a quiet inspirat,